up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to the Undrafted and Overconfident podcast on a Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. I'm Jason Semko. With me, Brandon Vigo Gordon.
Hello from the sunny state of Florida, man. I gotta say, they didn't really bring the sun out when we're while down here. It's been raining on and off for the last 2 or 3 days.
Really?
Yeah, not great. But you scraped my hotel room, which I am recording from right now, so that is the reason why I have the dullest background of all time behind me.
Aw.
But don't worry, this did travel with me, so I did make sure to rep. I couldn't find a place to hang it, but it's here.
That's
So don't
okay.
you worry. It's
It's
right
there.
here waiting for you. It's here in spirit. So yeah, down here for about a week for work until what we're doing now becomes our official work. It's only a matter of time, Semko.
Well, I don't know. If the episodes continue to get churned out from our editor and producer like they did last week, we won't make it. I
Well,
apologize to everyone. I had the intro and outro mixed up. I cut out a lot of stuff I shouldn't have. We're using
it
a
was
new
all
program.
gold too. It's all gold.
It was all gold. It's always all gold. And I
It's always
just
all gold.
botched it, and I am truly sorry to everyone. The sound was off on both me and Brandon. I don't
we're
know.
good now.
I feel like I needed somebody to save me.
There you go. That's
to
what
make
it
the
needed.
play
There you go.
to
A
save
little
the day.
ego juju right there. Absolutely. You know, I mean, like, you're going to be platinum now, so congratulations. You're platinum. Platinum J-Bear.
I like that. I can only do better than last episode. So far so good though. I got the
So far,
intro
so
right.
good.
So boom.
No pressure. Yeah.
Nope.
Well, we always like to talk weekend talk because we're old fogies. So let's talk about the weekend, man. What'd you get up to? It was Easter Sunday. Did the Easter Bunny come visit you?
No, it was very quiet. We actually were the only ones out playing a little pickleball.
Yeah. Because you guys are heathens. Everybody else is at church or having their
Yeah.
Easter brunch. You're the heathens out there playing the devil sport pickleball. I'm going to start calling it the devil sport.
The devil sport. It's the new
Yeah.
hot sport.
Yeah, hot, as in hell, as in the devil. You see?
Yeah, as in you're gonna get hurt eventually. I already kind of tweaked my back a little bit.
Oh, no. Yeah, see?
Yeah, it was one of those, just since there was no one there, I just thought I could run around like
You
I'm
got a little
25
bit,
again.
extra. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's fine now, but man, I'm gonna have to throw in like some yoga, stretching. This is gonna become like a whole thing. This podcast, we might have to shorten it to like an hour and 15, because I got yoga and stretching afterwards.
I thought you were going to say just because you can't sit down in a chair for that long. You're like, God, it's like everything tightens up. I can't do it anymore. So yeah,
I'll use a
pickleball
standing
in.
desk if I have to.
There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, man. I got a standing desk at home, wife, but it's one of those retractable, so it can rise up to be a standing desk, and then it can be lowered to a sitting desk.
Okay.
My wife always catches me sitting, and she's like, "It's a standing desk. Stand up." And I'm like, "Fine. I got to turn the thing on. I got to stand up."
Yeah.
But it's
We
better
have a
for you.
standing desk at work. I don't
Yeah.
never use it. I just use the chair. I don't know.
Yeah. Like she's literally trying to either get me in the best shape of my life or kill me. I can't decide which. I think I mentioned this before. But on top of the standing desk, she's put a walking pad beneath me. So not only am I standing, but now I'm walking when I'm working.
She's also trying to send you like I don't think you've put on too much weight or anything, but that could be the messages getting sent
Yeah,
too,
it's
though.
like hint, you know? It's like, and then here's
Yeah.
a weighted vest. Throw this bad boy on you too.
It's getting to be beach season, sir.
I was just
pool
bragging about
opens
this.
up in
This shirt is what, 20 or 13 years old, still fits. How dare you say that? How dare you? You know what?
Well, I don't know if you were in the
This armor does not protect my
Does not
feelings.
protect my feelings there, Soko.
Well, maybe you weren't in the best of shape then either. I don't
Oh,
know.
wow, shots fired. Okay. Don't make me press the button again. I'll do it. All
You're
right,
locked
so
and
yeah.
loaded. You're just waiting to push those
I'm waiting. Yeah,
buttons.
I got these buttons reloaded. I feel like we're shock jockeys or the real deal. I can't wait to whip these bad boys out.
I know,
Um,
right?
But anything else on the weekend you want to kind of touch on?
No, that was it. It was pretty quiet. Work has been kind of kicking both my wife and I's butt, so we just kind of relaxed on Sunday. Made a nice, I can't remember what I made for dinner. that night. Oh, I think we just made like some kava bowls. Did some lamb, so kind of had some lamb
Some lamb,
with
lamb.
Easter. But
Okay.
that was really it. It was just a real quiet, didn't really feel like doing too much, so relaxed. I wish I had more, but unfortunately, they can't all be winners.
Yeah. That's kind of sacrilegious to eat lamb on Easter, isn't it? Because it wasn't Jesus like the Lamb of God. So are you like eating Jesus on Easter?
Well, you take the oh my
Yeah,
god,
the
I'm gonna sound
blood.
so
Yeah,
mean. The wafer.
the wafer. Well, that's Catholicism, and in
Well,
Christianity, it's just bread, right? You're just eating bread. But that's the body of
yeah.
Christ. So I see where you're going. There's
Yeah, yeah,
body of
yeah.
Christ, blood of Christ. Are you sipping that wine on that Catholic table, or you're getting just that grape juice?
Grape juice for me, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Likewise. Yeah. I didn't
But
have
no,
one of
what
those. Yeah, I didn't have one of those Lucy churches where they're giving 10-year-olds wine. No, it was grape juice the whole way.
yeah.
But yeah, my
But
weekend was
what
kind
about
of
you?
it was hectic, man. Because we just got back from the beach, so it was driving on Saturday, got back, unpack everything, laundry, the whole nine. Then on Sunday, we had to drive to my parents' place to do the Easter jam after the Easter Bunny
Okay.
came to our house. We got kids.
Oh.
So we were like, there's just no time. I didn't have time to prep. So like my wife and I, we were working out in the garage. And then after every set, I would run out to the backyard and just chuck eggs. Like find places. Like, I got, hey, Easter Bunny's got to be here because we got somewhere space. So right after that,
Half of them are already open,
yeah,
broken
yeah,
open when they
just
go
a
find
couple of
it.
them were, and it's crazy windy. So it's like I tried to be all tricky, hanging them in trees, and they just blow out and just crack on the ground. I was like, ow! So I was just like, just throw it in the grass. They don't care. They just want the eggs. So they did the Easter egg hunt. Got to my parents' place, did a very early dinner because then I had to go home and I had to pack again for this
Oh,
trip.
man.
The weekend went by like that for me. No fun stuff. I mean, it was fun seeing the
Yeah.
kids for the Easter stuff, but yeah, that was about it. Nothing exciting to kind of share with my stuff. But it could have been a more glorious weekend for me. It could have been my weekend as champion. But as you know, Simcoe, for fantasy hockey, man, did I put up a fight. But
Boy,
just came up
it was
short
about to be the biggest comeback in
of
probably our
fantasy
fantasy history.
history. I was down 1-7 in cats categories
Yep.
going into Sunday. Going into Sunday,
Yep.
I was down 1-7. And I texted you and I texted DW and I said, if I come back from this, it will be the greatest comeback in the
And you
history
would
of
not
Bigo.
be allowed in our league ever again
You just shut it
because
down. Yeah.
the luck of Bigo, it is unbeatable. It would have been if that was the
It
case.
was beatable. That's the problem. It was beatable.
And you
But
had everything set up for you, by the way. First of all, you mentioned on the last pod how your goalie gave up 5 goals in one period.
oh,
Well, of course, you would then assume that Chris Hunter, you're in the finals, his goalies would just march on like they have all season and sub 3 goals against, all great save percent. No, he's right up there with 5 goals against as well going into Sunday. And of course, it looked good for you. I even
it
texted you
did.
like you're going to win
You
this
did.
because
You
you
jinxed me.
had well, I was trying to,
I know
but
you were.
honestly, it was like Chris didn't have any goalies going.
No goalies.
You
And
had
I knew
2.
this. I knew that too. I knew going in. I was like, I'm going to pick up guys, and I know both of his guys because they played back to backs on Saturday and Sunday. So his goalies played on Saturday. So I was like, they're not going to play on Sunday. I don't know if Chris is in depth like that, like I am, but I was like, he thinks these goalies are starting. They're not starting. So he's got no goalies going. I got 2 opportunities to get those cats down, and they did. I
They
regained
did.
goals against, and if I did the math. This is how dorky it was.
Oh boy.
I calculated the saves against versus the saves completed, and I was like,
Okay.
okay, I need my namesake Blackwood on my team name. I needed
Yes.
Blackwood to get, it was like 25 saves, and he could give up 2 goals, and I could win save percentage. But what
Yeah.
happened? He
He
gave up
gave
a
up
3rd
3.
goal.
He did.
Dagger. And that was it. That was the kill shot right there. This guy, I don't even know, heard this guy, Seaver had this guy, Coyle on the
Oh, I
Rangers.
was so mad when he drafted him in the draft. Will Coyle is in our league, amazing fantasy hockey player.
Had
He's got hits,
on
pins.
Sunday, hat trick, 9 penalty minutes, and
Yep.
4 hits. And I
Yes.
lost by 2 goals. So that hat trick sunk me. But I did tie
Yeah.
it up 4-4 We were right. We were
You
dead
did.
heat. But sadly, again, I was a 5 seed. I lost to Seabird twice in the regular season.
Yeah.
Tiebreaker goes to the regular season champ, and he got me there. So all credit to Seabear. Congratulations. We'll have to have
He's
him
probably
on.
the We should. He's probably the only one that could have taken you down because I couldn't believe it. Brandon Dillon. I just really need Brandon Dillon to get in a fight today.
I did. I texted you this right before the game because I saw where we were on penalty minutes, and I said, I need Brandon Dillon to get in a fight in the worst kind of way. And what happens?
Yes.
He gets it.
17 penalty minutes.
Stole PIMs. That's when you thought I was just destined to win it.
Yes, absolutely. And then once again, you had your goalies going and he
Yep.
didn't. I was like, well, this is over. Like, it's done. He's somehow going to win 6-2. It's going to look like a blowout. But I did realize something because I honestly, I was not rooting for you.
Yes, obviously.
And it obviously, and a lot of it did have to do with, I just didn't want you to have that belt in the background of every episode.
Every episode to be hanging right above it. Yeah.
And I had to hear about it, and I can't stand it. I like the fact that I beat you in the fantasy football quarterfinals, and that's the last playoff battle we've had, so I'm going to take that.
Yeah, okay.
But I really realized I wasn't really rooting for you, and you kind of mentioned it a second ago. Chris, Dwight, and I dominated the regular season, and the regular season has to mean something to
Has to
somebody,
mean something.
and
I knew
that's
you were going to say
me.
this.
And so one of the three of us truly deserved to win that title. Like, I'm sorry. It could have been you as the 1 seed playing, I don't know, Darkness as a 5 seed. And and if you were 40 points ahead in the regular season, I probably would have rooted for you. We were so far
Maybe.
ahead of everybody. I couldn't root for you.
God, I was so close.
I
mean,
know.
The only reason this isn't more devastating is that out of you, DW, and Seabear, like, I'm perfectly fine losing to Seabear. I can't stand losing to you and DW. So, like, Seabear's just, he's just a good guy. You can't help but like the guy.
I know.
Can't stay mad at him. Should have put that on the block. But congrats, Seabear, man. Yeah, well deserved. Hoist that belt. Those you got something that weighs those pants down. So thank God you got a heavy belt to keep them up.
Yep.
But yeah, good on you, man. Congratulations. With hockey ending though, man, I know do you have anything on the fantasy hockey before I move on?
I'm ready to win this thing next year. I get closer and closer every year.
Yeah, you scratch the surface. You finally took my model. You're like, focus on hits, the goals will come. And look what happens.
Yeah.
I told you right after the draft, I loved your team. I was like, I love your team. It's great.
But guys I'd never heard of, didn't know anything about them, but they
Nope.
just had a boatload of hits.
That's all you need. Everything else
okay.
comes. Yeah. But with a sport kind of ending both on the fantasy spectrum and the real spectrum, hockey season's almost over, man. Sadly it's pretty much Caps are mathematically out by now, I believe. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. And I believe during the year there was I remember there being some posts in our group chat of the standings of where the Capitals were to the Penguins.
That never came from me. I knew better than to do that.
Yeah, it sounds like
yes.
a Chris Hunter thing. Chris is nice to you. He's not really nice to me anymore.
What? He's nice to you. Stop. But yeah,
Penguins got a shot, baby.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are, you're hanging on to your playoff spot right now. You're at 96 points. I think you should be good because Philly's behind you in the Metro leaders, also in it with 92. You guys are just lucky that you're on the lesser of the two Eastern divisions. Because at the Atlantic leaders, 102, 102, 102 in Tampa Bay, Buffalo, and Montreal. So the two wild cards just happen to be also in that Atlantic lead in Boston and Ottawa. So yeah, Caps are done. The Penguins, I'll definitely be looking for that first round out for you guys.
Probably they're not playing very well.
Just let's just call it. Crosby and Ovi came into the league 1 year away from each other. Yeah. Was it Crosby first?
I think it was Ovechkin first, actually.
Okay. So, Ovi has announced that he's going to decide in June if he's going to hang up the skates or not. It would seem very idealistic if they both came into the league at the same time and they both left at the same time. But I don't know if you're plugged into Pittsburgh. Is that something that's on Crosby's mind? Is he thinking retirement?
I don't think so. I think he's still just gonna try to keep on going. I don't know. No, I'm not comparing him to like LeBron, but I don't know. LeBron's just like, I'm just gonna keep playing until I don't feel like I want to play anymore, and that's the
Yeah.
way it feels like with Crosby. I know Ovi's. I mean, he's got the gray hair. He's getting worn down. I think his
Well,
style of play is a little different, but
yeah, very much so. And I also feel like but he's also got a second career. Like he's just going to go home back to Russia. He's going to play in the KHL for probably like 10 years and be one of the best players in the KHL.
yeah,
So I don't
yeah. He's,
like I
both guys are hockey guys. I'm sure
yeah.
Sydney might try to do something too.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, with hockey winding down, we're losing sports. We're losing sports to keep ourselves entertained, Semco. Like we've got baseball. We're gonna talk about that. We got the Masters, we're gonna talk about that. We got the NBA, if that floats your boat.
That's
Still
not
live
enough. We need
front end.
more.
We need more. So lucky for all of you, we are always at the pulse of the new sports. We brought you the Run League. What was the other one that we brought you? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Well, you
It was
brought the
the
Florida Man games.
Florida Man games. We did the wife carrying over
Yes,
in England.
yes.
Yes. So, we're always at the precipice of the new sports. Well, we aren't going to deny you another one, guys. So please introduce yourself to the newest rage of the Sperm Racing World Cup. Sperm Racing
He
World Cup.
he did not pronounce that wrong. He did not mistake his words. That is it. Sperm
So
Racing Cup.
So it's going to take place. The Sperm Racing World Cup is going to take place at the end of 2026. And it's actually accepting applications. So you can actually apply, Simcoe. You're a fast runner. Do you got
Yup.
fast swimmers?
We'll find out.
Oh, all right.
That'd be a
Competitors
good
can.
bit for the podcast.
There you go. Yeah, we apply and see if we got strong swimmers. I think that I've got an incredible track record because I don't know if my wife would agree, but it's like when we committed to trying, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure I got it on the first time, every time, both times, first try, got it, piece of cake. So
I
I
feel
think that
like
I'd be
that's
pretty
what
good at
every
this.
guy says.
No,
I
but
think
at the
that's what
same time,
every guy says. I
wouldn't
think the
wouldn't you
wife might be like, actually.
Wouldn't you want to have slow swimmers so you had to keep trying though? You're like, oh no, it didn't go. Guess we gotta go again. But
Oh, that
anyways,
is true.
so the competitors they vie. The grand prize is actually $100,000. Where are they getting
Yeah.
this money? Who's paying for this? But apparently it rose to prominence last year. 2025 is the first time this event was fully rolled out in LA, of course. And two students, of course they're kids, two students
Yeah.
competed to see who had the fastest swimmers. And that time they had a grand prize of $10,000. So they've doubled down. Well, they've 10 times down. That grand prize went from
Yeah.
10,000 up to $100,000. Um, so the foursome behind the sperm racing, they say they know it looks like a joke or it's a violator, but they insist that it's rooted in real health statistics. They're talking about male fertility is declining.
Yep.
Nobody's really talking about it, and sperm motility is how fast your sperm moves, and it can turn into a massive factor in fertility. It's measurable, trackable, just like running a race or lifting weights, something you can actually
Yeah.
improve. So you can actually improve your sperm, not mobility, but motility. And I don't know, you don't need to see me keep doing this, but I can't help myself. It's not just about racing sperm, Semco. It's about science, okay?
It
So
is.
I gotta ask you, man, you have to be at least 18 years old and you have to be
Check.
free of STDs. So do you check those two boxes? Do we need to go
That's
into
a
some hard
check.
stuff here?
No,
Okay,
no,
that's a
no.
double check.
Check. Double check.
All right. And then obviously you have to provide samples. So Semco, I'm sure you have no problem, offering samples for
I
compliance.
don't think
It's for
any of us would
compliance.
have problems.
You're like, baby,
It's for
don't worry. It's for
science.
compliance. It's for science. It's compliance. All right.
I could
I
win
have to do this.
$100,000 if I
I
do
could,
this.
I could take $100,000 off of that mortgage. You're welcome. All because I got some fast swimmers.
Yup.
But apparently they're doing it by countries, so you can represent by country. You have to. It's kind of like it's funny. They're kind of doing the Olympics thing. It's like you either have to be born there or you have to hold citizenship in the country. So they're trying to be the Olympics of sperm racing.
Well, they they tenfolded their prize money in a year. So obviously,
Yeah.
whatever they're doing, it's working and people are liking. So, but I like that though. They're taking it. They really seem to be serious about it. They're taking it serious, but also making it fun at the same time. I
Yeah.
love it.
I like, I wanna know, like, it can't be, it's gotta be, like a like a slalom, right? Where they're it's a timed race, right? And is it like a cheese wheel maze? Is it like a mouse maze where they gotta dart around
I'd
corners?
hope
Or is it
so.
straight line? Is it sperm, do they go straight line, or they seem like they're just all over the place?
So that's maybe what they'll have to do is they'll have to come up with some different races. One is
And
just
it's
boom, straight line. One's gonna be like the mile, I guess, long distance, and the other is like
like
an
you're
obstacle
gonna have
course.
your sperm swim a mile, really? Yeah. I don't think anyone's. I don't care how fast your sperm are. I don't think they have the endurance to do that. So I don't know about that.
Okay, well,
I don't.
100 yards maybe.
100 yards. Okay, there you go. And also, it's like they're obviously not racing the sperm side by side, right? They can't just put all the goo in the same pot and like differentiate whose spunk is whose.
You can kind of test that, can't you?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be an
Zap
individual
it with
race.
something, and it'll come up with whose DNA it
I
is.
think I think you're gonna have to do time. Like everybody has their own run, and they compare times.
Okay,
Not the most exciting thing. You'd like to see sperm versus sperm, neck and neck, or head
I
to
know.
head, or whatever. But we'll just have to. You'll have to use your imagination on that. But guys, maybe I'll convince. For those of you that are listening, I'll convince. Senko to attach the link to the sperm racing website. So for those of you that want to apply, you can. If we were a little bit more ahead of this, maybe we could have made this a competition. That would be good too. But if nothing else, we'll definitely see if they gotta have it, with that kind of prize money. This is it's got to be on the ESPN Ocho or something. Are they gonna be
It
recording this?
does.
Are they gonna be broadcasting this, or maybe just on their
I,
website?
I kind of want to see it, honestly. I just want to see what they got going on and how it looks. So I'd watch.
Yeah, there you go.
I
See,
tune
yeah.
in. More
Well,
out of
there.
curiosity, but I do like the fact though that it's funny we did miss I think one of the best Super Bowl commercials when we kind of briefly went through that. We kind of did forget to talk about the tight end commercial with
Oh
all the
yeah,
legit tight ends. And, it was to raise awareness for, get colonoscopy screenings or
colonoscopies. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So I kind of am liking this that, because I've actually talked to a couple people like at work before and they're like, approaching, that 40 to 45 age and they're like, no way I'm getting that test done. I'm like, well, what if you got something though, man? It's like, oh, I ain't doing that. So it's like, well, you don't have to get it that way now, but I think it's good. It's raising that awareness so that, we can maybe try to outlive the women because they outlive us by like 7 or 8 years, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, oh, it's because, we just get tired of them nagging and we just decide to kick the bucket a little bit earlier. The-
It's probably
but,
got a little bit to do with
no,
it.
no, I'm sure it's got a lot to do with health. But
Yes.
last few things. So how the race works, because I looked this up really quickly, is that they did design a microscopic racetrack that mimics the reproductive system. So the bobs
Okay.
and the weaves and everything that goes in there. They're going to have high resolution cameras track every move. It's all live streamed, complete with stats, leaderboards, and instant replays. They are. Here's the kicker. They're turning up the spectacle. They're going to do weigh-ins, the live stream races, and
What?
play-by-play commentary. I don't know. That's what they're gonna do. So it's a full-on affair.
Weigh
We
in.
might. Oh, I don't know, but that's what it says. I'm taking them for their word. But it's got me hooked. I can't wait to hear more about it. It doesn't look like they've got specific times done, so it's not too late, man. So get that application and
I'm
see
gonna
if you're
look
a
into
viable
it.
candidate, man. Yeah. But until then, until we actually get to the Sperm Racing World Cup, luckily, March Madness kept us entertained over the weekend and through Monday,
Yeah,
and
it did.
MLB. But let's talk about the finality of March Madness, right? The final came through. Michigan ended up winning the whole thing.
Yep.
They were just too big, too strong, and I think it's just too much for UConn, man. Did you watch the
Yeah.
game?
I caught the second half of it, and I was so upset because I wish we could have recorded on Monday because I was gonna say that Cadeau was just their lightning rod in the game against Arizona. Every time they needed a play, he made it. Had like 10 assists in that game. He made every big basket, every right pass, and then Mara down low was just a problem for
Yeah.
Terrace Reed all game. And yeah, I mean, we got the team wrong, but I think we got the concept right. I mean,
Right.
Michigan just they out UConn. I mean, they out rebounded, they outscored them in the paint. They just were bigger on almost every single position out there, and it finally caught up to UConn. But congrats to Michigan, man. I mean, a dominant victory. I think in Big Ten they've got the biggest point differential of any winner from the Big Ten. Their scoring, they scored like 90 points a game. I think that's the fourth or fifth highest by a winner in NCAA history. So good on them, man. I mean, they deserved it.
Yeah, I mean, if you were just a, a casual fan, that was a terrible game. Let's just call it what it was. It was not shot
Eh,
well. It wasn't. I mean, there's no like energy at the end. I mean, I think after like 5 minutes,
yeah.
the smallest margin was like 5 points. So it never really felt like UConn was mounting a comeback. At least that's what I thought.
Yeah,
Um,
solo ball banked in that three, and you were like, maybe? Like they might have enough time, but you're right. It didn't really feel like they were gonna be able to do it. But yeah,
but I mean, it was Michigan's first national championship since. I mean, I looked at it was like 35, 37 years. So
1989 when Glenn Rice went
Glenn Rice, that's right.
nuts. Yeah.
Glenn Rice was my jam in NBA Jam. I always wanted to
Oh,
play
he
with Glenn
couldn't
Rice because I just
miss.
traded threes. Yeah, piece of cake.
He
But
had that high release.
yes, very high release, very
Yeah.
awkward release, but it worked for him. So
Yep.
yeah, Michigan. I guess it's weird. You think of a powerhouse like Michigan, and you're like, oh man, they won again, but it's been a long time since they won a
Yeah.
national championship basketball. I mean, they did win obviously the college basketball. I mean, the college football 2 years back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate dynasties, so I had no problem seeing UConn lose. And I'm not the
Okay.
hugest Hurley fan, and you know that, so
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
upset seeing him lose as well. But yeah, it just there's really just not a lot of excitement for that game. I wanted to see sharpshooting, didn't see it. I think they combined for like what was it, 4 of like 40 from the 3-point like line.
It was
It was
rough. It was
brutal
rough.
out there. Holy
Yeah.
cow! And it's not like they were contested shots. A lot of them were open. And it just felt like they were just, the moment maybe got a little bit too big for him. I'm not sure
Yeah.
because some of
Honestly,
these
the only guy
guys,
that played well was Caravan, and he played
yeah,
awful in the Final Four game, so he was
yes,
making up for it in the final, but wasn't enough, obviously.
yeah. So, I mean, it's the two best competed against each other. It might not be pretty, but it was a well fought game, and it was entertaining to see. And I got to ask you now that we're kind of burying the men's side. Did you? I think you said that you had UConn winning the whole thing in the women's bracket. So I'm guessing that you lost in your women's tourney bracket. Is that right?
I did, unfortunately.
Oh, dagger.
Guy that won had South Carolina, so
Oof,
that was
that'll do
obviously
it.
a big game. I know. Damn,
But
I did.
South Carolina was a 1 seed too, right?
They were. It was all one seeds. It was actually all the same seeds, teams from last year in it. I don't think it was all one seeds, maybe, but yep, all one seeds. Per usual though in the women's bracket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in both brackets this year is very, very chalky,
Yeah,
Like, well, yes, we had a 3 seed going to the Final Four, but they got bounced pretty quickly by UConn. And even though UConn was a 2 seed, they were obviously the strongest 2 seed. They freaking won it last year. So,
two
how'd you
years
feel?
ago.
2 years ago, my apologies.
Yeah.
But how'd you feel? Did you like to see like the people that have been the best all year make it to the finals, or were you hoping for a little bit more, you know, Cinderella-ness to it?
I'm always hoping for some type of Cinderella, and if you tell me that the University of Texas is going to be your Cinderella, it's already going to go down as probably not going to be my favorite March Madness. This actually was probably my least favorite tournament I can recall, and
Really?
they're all great.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, they're all great. You can't not have buzzer beaters. You're gonna have really good games. It's always the best month of college sports. It's always awesome. But yeah, I mean, truthfully, each Thursday and Friday, I felt like there were maybe 3 good games. I mean, you had the VCU UNC game, you had my boys High Point beating Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and then the next day, it was really that Santa Clara Kentucky game. All the other
Yep.
games were kind of blowouts.
Yeah.
Coming down the stretch, I mean, the Final 4 games, those 2 games weren't great. The Elite 8, I don't think really they had the UConn Duke. I mean,
Yeah,
so
we
I'll
talked
get
about. That was really the only one that saved that round.
yeah. I mean, the Sweet 16 had I think it was the, Purdue, Texas was the best game. Like, a lot of those were blowouts. You had the really
How
good
dare you? The
games, but
Nebraska-Iowa game was white knuckle. How dare you, sir?
it was good. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, it was good, but, there's no St.
Yeah.
Peter's in there, there's no
Nope.
Florida Gulf Coast, no, Florida Atlantic making a Final Four run, no Butler. It just felt a little odd, but you're right, it felt kinda though like I've said before I love tennis, and when the Big 4 would play, you look forward to those semifinal games, but they were always epic. I would have had a different opinion if the Final 4 and the final were, like, really, really good games, but it's a great tournament. It just really lacked a lot of that,
Yeah,
unfortunately, this
yeah.
year.
Yeah, the storylines were minimal, right? Like that's what
Yeah,
it really came down to is that while the games might have been good, games are good every year. But what really drives the
that's
tournament
true.
is the storylines. Like you had Loyola and the mother, the
Sister
nun,
Jean.
Sister Jean, right?
Yeah.
And then you have these characters that are on these teams that have no chance of making the NBA. You got the guy for you meant St. Peter's, the guy with the wispy mustache. Like that guy
Yeah.
became an icon and you never
He
heard of him
did.
again. But that was his moment in
No.
the sun. Florida
Yeah.
Gulf Coast, Slam City or Jam City or whatever they were called. None of those guys are
Dunk
making the
City.
NBA. Dunk City, my apologies. But that was a storyline, right? And it felt
Yeah.
like this tournament really lacked storylines. The storyline was dominance, and that was kind of the storyline. So yeah, it's a shame that it kind of became that chalky. And what worries me is that we're going to see more of that with NIL because the teams with the most money, the schools with the most money, they're just going to buy up the best talent. They're going to run the table from start to finish, and then when it comes to the tournament, they still have the best players.
Yep.
And it's going to be very much a David and Goliath. We'll still see a sprinkling of those high point games, but their distance in the tournament where I
Yeah.
don't think that we're going to see as frequently as we did in the past, which sucks. But it's where the world is. We just kind of adapt or die, man. But
They
yeah,
are
so the
trying, though. Did you see that they are trying to pass things that limit 5
I did, I
years?
did. I heard
So
Yeah. I heard that, yeah, they're talking about and, like, I've always been a fan of this and, like, get the politics out of it. I don't care who did it or whatever, but the idea of, okay, you get one free transfer. You can transfer
yes.
once for free, like in the olden days. But if you do it
Yes.
again, you're sitting the F out for at
Yep.
least a year. I'm
Yep.
all about that. Stop letting these people be mercenaries and go to 4 different colleges for 4 different years or 7 different colleges for 7 different years
I know.
and just keep getting paid, man. It's like we have to limit the chaos of this and create some more loyalty to the program. And
Yeah.
it's also going to deter coaches. If I was a coach, it's like why like I have better longevity in the NBA. I might as well become an assistant in the NBA and hopefully get me a head coaching job in the NBA, because why am I doing it in
Yeah.
college when I get this guy for 1 year? It's worse than it is in the NBA where I can actually have contracts and they stick to those contracts and they're not going to cut and run the minute a better contract comes out. Because guess what? You're under contract.
Yes. I know. We've talked about that before, but it's just crazy to think that it's just okay to just break contracts and just keep moving on somewhere else. Like, that just doesn't happen anywhere.
I know.
Like, come on.
But yeah, so like the potential that's coming out, but I mean, the NCAA still has to approve it. But
I
yeah,
know.
limit to 5 years and one free transfer. So hopefully it's at least the start of the conversation. But
Yeah.
I know it's never going to be as easy as it's just going to pass. There's going to be a lot of pushback and a lot of retooling. So we'll see where it ends up. But yeah, back to the women's team. The final there. A little bit of excitement, but man, South Carolina just kind of felt like they were in control that entire game. And
Yeah.
But that didn't mean there wasn't a lack of excitement. Just happened to be on the sidelines instead of on the court. Obviously, word's gotten around if you are again watching this stuff, but good old Gino from UConn kind of got a little bitter over at Don Staley, the head coach for UConn, against
Yes.
the head coach in South Carolina. And did you hear it? So it ended up with a blowout at the end of the game where you could see, and this is one of those times, there are like those TikTok stars and those people on like social media that like make a living off of reading lips. I
Yeah.
need a lip reader to tell me what the hell is said, because whatever he said to Don Staley set her off.
Yeah. I
But
think it was still something about how he didn't she didn't shake his hand, and then he
yeah.
said something else, and then she was like, I'm gonna whoop
Oh,
Gino's
you're
A. I'm gonna
you're
whoop
lip
Gino's
reading, yeah.
A. I think there's one audio that has that or something, but
Oh, okay.
she's like, I'm gonna whoop his A. I'm gonna whoop Gino's A, like multiple times after he got all up in her grill and they were being held back. But yeah.
Where we talked about sperm racing for about 20 minutes. You can say ass. You don't have to say A. You can say ass. It's okay to say ass.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
like
trying
that.
to keep it professional.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. We're talking about sperm
I know,
racing. How
I
professional are
know.
we here?
We're far from that, you're
Yeah.
right.
No, but I saw his post game interview, and I saw him say, "Oh yeah, I was a little upset because we didn't shake hands and we didn't have the pregame, banter that I guess is unwritten rule in like
Yeah.
coaching college basketball." But then there was the recording that showed that they did shake hands at halftime, so they got around to that handshakes. So I don't know if I can believe that, and I think it was just honestly, I think it was Gino just like airing out sour grapes. He was pissed off about
Yes.
the refs, and he was pissed off about how his team performed on the biggest stage. And I'm sure he was pissed off because wasn't UConn undefeated all year? So
Yeah.
their first loss was in the title game. So I'm
Yep.
sure he was in his mind, he was like, hey, another perfect season in my already Hall of Fame career. So I think it was just a little bit of bitterness coming out. And I hate that they make excuses where he's like, oh, it's the handshake. Get out of here with the handshake. You don't care about the handshake. You and Don have not liked each other for a long time. I'm pretty sure if you won, you wouldn't be mentioning that handshake.
Oh
And then
gosh, no.
and
Or
then if
maybe
you
he would have. I don't know.
nah,
He's such an I hate saying this. I'm sorry, Dad, but that he just was an angry old boomer. I mean, come on, man. Like he he said it in his press conference though. He was like, "This is my 25th tournament and my 17th Final Four." I mean, he's basically saying
yeah.
you should kiss the ground that I
Kiss
walk
the ring.
on.
Kiss the
Yeah,
ring,
kiss
yeah.
the ring. Like, I am women's college basketball. You need to show me the utmost respect at all times. Even if I think it, you should know that's what I'm thinking and do it. And yeah, but to be that bitter and bring that up at the end of the game when you're going to shake hands, you let that fester all game in your
All game.
head.
Yeah.
That you let Dawn Staley just get in your head. I hope she planned that. I really do. That'd be diabolical.
It would.
But I mean, she might know the guy. Might know that, man.
Yeah,
If I
they have
just,
history. They have
I
history.
know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't blame her if that's the way that he's gonna probably walk around, which I gotta believe is just who he is.
Well, and
I
like you
mean,
said, maybe she did it for a competitive edge. Maybe that was her
yeah,
idea the whole time. But honestly, I think she was just so focused on the game. Like I watched the preseason, and like she just looked like she was kind of just hyper focused. She's not worried about it.
yeah,
Um and yeah, the other thing was she started like saying that again, it just felt like sour grapes. Gino was mentioning how Don, oh, she calls things at refs you would never want to be called. And it's like, well, like, that's what coaches do, 1, and then 2, what was the purpose you sprinkling that into that
I
seemed like a
know.
shot? It really
Yeah,
seemed like a shot. If you wanna stick with the handshake excuse, stick with the handshake excuse. Don't
it's just
also
yeah.
compound on it, "And she says mean stuff to the refs." It's like, okay. It
It's
really
it's
kinda deflates your argument.
It's gotten to the point where I think it's just this simple. Look, UConn, it used to be UConn and Tennessee, and Tennessee had the advantage for a while, and then UConn took over. And UConn was always more talented, but they were actually tougher and would beat their opponents up. Don Staley is about the only coach that will beat UConn up, and
Yeah.
he can't stand that. And so he used to be he used to be where Don Staley was, where he would complain about other teams, about how they just weren't playing the right basketball, or
Right.
they should just be more physical like we are, like they just can't play our style. And he met someone that punches harder, honestly.
Yeah.
And he can't handle that. I mean, he
Yeah.
wanted to win that game probably more than if he actually won it and lost the national title game, which I can't believe South Carolina they didn't show up for. I guess the UConn game, that's all that mattered to those two teams because South Carolina laid an egg against UCLA. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think Gino would have been happier just beating Don Staley and losing the national title than
How
anything
this turned
else.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. But one thing I think we can agree on is that neither of these two are afraid of confrontation. Like
No.
they are ready to go. And apparently there are some health, experts that are saying that, hey, confrontation is good for your health. Like they're talking about, and god damn it, or like I want this trend to go away so bad, Simcoe, so bad. But they're saying that people need to try a new craze, or they're calling it a new craze, and it's
Yeah.
friction maxing. So we've
Yes.
got looks maxing, we've got smell maxing, now we have friction maxing.
Friction Max.
Friction maxing sounds like something Seabeer did every Saturday night with one of his lady friends, but we're talking about something differently. Friction maxing apparently is pretty much stop being a hermit. Do you want to kind of express this? I can go over what we have here, but the idea pretty much stems from you can't shy away from interaction, and you can't shy away from, you need to be out there and you need to engage, you need to be
Yeah.
prepared. And it's like we talk about, it's like we've talked about it before, it's like it's like don't let your kids get soft, stop like sheltering them in a
Yeah.
bubble. They've got to go out and they have to face adversity. But friction mashing apparently um is, I mean, you go ahead, like what do you got? You were the one who
Yeah.
sent this to me.
Yeah, I mean it is basically it's kind of using like some like the corporate talk, but it's kind of like, put yourself in like do something that's uncomfortable during the day. Have an uncomfortable conversation. Or I think the simplest one is like at home, like, you come home from work and you don't feel like cooking. You don't want to cook, you'd rather just order in. No,
Get
like
Uber Eats. Yeah.
get your brain out, go find a recipe, measure out the stuff, like make a meal, tinker with it or something, but like actually use some like thought
Yeah.
throughout the day, or instead of just trying to take the easy way out with absolutely everything. There's
It's
occasionally some things where, believe it or not, working hard and seeing the payoff is worth more than just being given like
yeah,
what you were working towards.
we
I
sound
know.
like such boomers. We sound like
I
such
know.
boomers. But it's true. Like I mean, like it just seems, and like it's funny how it's evolved, right? Because I definitely think that your parents and my parents would say that we were coddled, right? But
Yes,
like
absolutely.
compared to the next generation, we had the hard knock life. This next generation feels like they're coddled on an entirely different level.
Yeah.
They don't have to even drive to get the food. I am one of those people, I will refuse till the day I die to use DoorDash delivery or Uber Eats. Like
Yeah, we don't either.
if you can't go out and get your food, and I'm not even saying go out and like scavenge and like cook your own food. If you can't even order from a restaurant and go pick the freaking food up, like what are we doing here? Like you're paying like $20 extra just to have the food like delivered to your door. Like how lazy can you get?
There have been a few times my wife, she works remote and a lot of her company works remote. So when uh, they give things out to the employees. A lot of it's like DoorDash. It's DoorDash gift cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So we have quite a bit like racked up. So there are just sometimes those days where it's been a long day. Like we've been out like on a hike and we're home and we want to like order a pizza or something. And I'm like, can you just use the DoorDash? And she's like, no. I refuse.
Good.
Like I'm
Good.
gonna wait for something better, but it's
Yeah.
just like she's like it's only like 10 minutes down the road. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like it.
See,
But I
yeah,
am grateful that I didn't do it though.
yeah, and like, yeah, it's like for that. Like, here's the only time I'll give you that. It's like she's saving for a rainy day. So when you get in a horrific kayaking accident and you break both your legs,
Yeah.
you can't get in the car. There's your DoorDash time. That is DoorDash time.
When
But
I tore my ACL and
yeah,
my meniscus, the next day I drove up to Lost Dog and
Lost Dog
trying
Cafe. Shout
Lost
out
Dog
Lost Dog
Cafe.
Cafe. What a great
One of my
place.
favorite places, but
That was our That was our post-game basketball
Yep.
place. Yumi, Coleman, and Whitaker, right?
Yep.
I
Like
love
every
Lost Dog.
single Saturday.
Every
Whenever
single
my dad
Saturday.
would come up to visit, almost 3 out of 4 times, it was Lost Dog Cafe. But I was in so much pain getting in and out of the car. My knee looked like a freaking volleyball. That's when you use the
That's when you
DoorDash
just
gift
DoorDash, yes.
card.
That's when so save it for that rainy day. If you're not gonna use
Yes.
it, you can have it as a stocking stuffer for one of your incredibly lazy
Yeah.
relatives or something like that. But yeah, so like Chia said, like, experts are saying that living a frictionless life, that's why they call it friction masking or maxing. It's not the best for your cognitive function over time. It's basically having a personal trainer lift the weights for you, right? So they're
Agreed.
saying just do some I hate to even call it critical thinking because it's not critical thinking. It's literally just think
Yeah.
on your own.
It's like go out there. It's like if you were gonna go take a walk with your dog or something, and you saw a neighbor about to leave their house at the same time, and you or just like, I don't feel like talking today. I don't want to run into them, so I'll leave in 5 minutes. No, go out there and run into your neighbor and exchange pleasantries or something. Like, just do something. Don't just wait for. That's not exactly maybe friction maxing.
But
It
I mean,
probably kind of
in
is.
a sense is, yeah. But the other thing that it reminds me of outside of the DoorDash is, are you familiar with TaskRabbit? You know what this is?
Yes,
TaskRabbit.
yes. I almost use
That's
that for the podcast for
how dare
editing our
you.
episodes.
You're trying to you need a friction max, my friend, and you did it on your own, friction maxing all the way.
Hey,
But
you try to edit those things and see
no.
how long it takes.
Are you kidding me? I'm the one who told you to stop doing it. Just go
I know.
unedited. Let's forget about editing. We'll
I
just
know.
keep all the ums and the likes and all of the dead air. We'll just keep it in there. I don't care.
Yeah.
It makes it more real.
It
But
does.
yeah, paying somebody to like build a IKEA furniture for you, just come on, like get a friend and do it yourself. Read the instructions, do the freaking job.
Well,
So
now
I'm
you've
all
got YouTube that'll like show because the instructions won't lie. Sometimes the instructions are not very helpful unless you're like super handy and really know what's going on. But YouTube it, guys. They'll
yeah,
give
you're still
you
doing the
a
process.
visual.
Yeah, you're still doing the process.
Yeah.
So we've added another maxing to our
Yes.
maxing repertoire. Before this, the only maxing I knew was TJ maxing, and I think you're right there with me. But
Still do it to this
well,
day.
yeah, TJ maxing, that's the way to go. But now we got looks maxing, we got smell maxing, friction maxing. We talked about touch maxing. This is kind of like friction maxing, but
A little
not
bit.
the same. But yeah, so Don, Staley, and Gino are definitely like on the apex of friction maxing. They're definitely
Yes.
maxing out that friction right there. But we're talking about max now. We could talk about Max Scherzer. We're gonna go into MLB talk, man. So we got into our predictions last week. My Braves pick and your Mets pick not looking bad except for Soto getting hurt, and it's so early in the season.
Mariners.
No, I'm saying, but
Mariners.
you had the Mets going to the World Series.
I did. Yes.
And you're burying the lead. I'm getting there, but are we worried about the Mariners yet? Because they're 4-8 right now. Are you worried at all about our prediction with Seattle going to the World Series?
I mean, you talked last episode, Julio Rodriguez, Josh Naylor are slow starters.
Yeah, just horrendous.
I mean, you can't have two of your power bats. So you can't. I mean, Naylor wasn't on the team last year.
He was. He was on for
Was he
like
on
the
the team
second
last
half.
year or
Yeah,
second half? Yeah.
He was like a trade deadline guy. He came over.
Yeah.
in the
Okay,
trade
that's right.
deadline.
So I don't know how many guys you can have on your team that are slow starters before you dig yourself into a hole. But dude, it's still so early. I mean, look, the Marlins are still sitting in first place. I forgot to mention the episode, dude. They played the Rockies and the White Sox their first two series to start the year.
Not exactly world beaters. Yeah, absolutely.
No, so some of that can depend on the schedule a little bit, and I don't know. Maybe once you get into, Seattle might be a little chilly still. The pitchers might not be hitting the fastball the speed they want.
You cracked on me for the dome theory for the Super Bowl. You're talking about a little chilly in Seattle right now. Get out of here.
So, are you worried about our Mariners?
Well, we knew that there was gonna be a regression with Cal Raleigh. He wasn't gonna bat 305 and hit 50 home runs and 120
No.
RBIs. So there has been a regression there. So we kinda, felt that. And I'm trying not to overreact because we talked about it. We said, "Hey, like, Julio is a perennial slow starter. Josh
Yeah.
Naylor is a perennial slow starter. They still have some new pieces." You were talking up your boy, Donovan, Brendan Donovan, and,
He's
I
been
mean,
fine.
he's batting 315, so he's not doing
He's
bad.
got like 3 homers, maybe 4 even.
But it's even the answers, right? It's like when I look at the pitching staff of that team, I mean, Woo still got a 1.5 ERA.
He didn't do so well today, though.
I mean, even with today's bad turnout, his season status, he's got a 1.5 ERA.
Oh,
So
okay.
his pitching is still, kind of right there. Castillo's a 2.79, Kirby's a 3.6. Gilbert's the one where he's just kind of S in the bed right now. He's at a 5.4.
Yeah.
But the starting pitching, which we're saying is going to drive their strength into the postseason, on paper, it looks like it's all there. It's just not connecting, and it will.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about it. But maybe we can look back at it in 2 weeks. We're like, okay,
Yeah, I know. I
now we
know.
need to kind of stress about this. But outside of our predictions, man, any other storylines that kind of grabbed your eye in the last week or so?
So the one that I really wanted to get to, because I've been saying for a couple episodes, when it all kind of started when Adam Silver came out talking about the NBA tanking, and he kind of said it just didn't seem like teams were doing it this way years ago. There was kind of an unwritten rule, and kind of in baseball, and we had kind of talked last season, one of our first couple episodes, where it just seems like the top teams are spending so much more than the bottom teams. I finally have some numbers to back it up.
Ooh, okay.
So the gap between the highest and lowest payrolls in 2016 was $181 million. It's 312 now.
Jesus.
But the top 10 payrolls, um, to the low or top 10 payrolls were at in 2016 at $1 billion. Top 10 spenders in the league. They're at
Combined. You're saying
they're
combined.
combined. Those 10 teams spent their payrolls all equaled $1 billion. Now, in 10 years, it's 1.9 billion. It's almost doubled in
Double.
just 10 years. So those 10 teams are just way outspending that the other teams are. It's gotten way too out of whack. There was almost like a happy medium for a while where, okay, the Yankees will spend, the Giants might spend. There's a few teams, but now it's 10 teams and then no one else can compete anymore. And that's why something has to happen. But yeah, I'm going to be watching that all year, just how the collective bargaining, kind of how the talks go throughout the year. I hate it because it's not even the game itself, but it's something that could change the game, honestly, forever.
It's the game within the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, we talk about there's got to be a competitive spirit. And if 10 teams or even 5 teams, I would have liked you to even go even further as like the top 5 spending teams, because I'm
Mm,
sure that's even more of a gap. I mean,
probably.
like you could realistically pick 3 starting starting players on the Dodgers, 3 starting players on the Dodgers, and their combined salary would probably equal or precede the Nationals'
Yes.
entire salary. 3
Absolutely.
guys against an entire organization.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane. So you brought it up earlier, and we'll sprinkle this in because we've already had this conversation. But when we talked about salary cap, that's one thing. But I liked your idea of, and I know there's something in place, but it needs to be beefed up. Is a salary minimum. Okay, if you want to be an owner, you got to spend at least this much,
Yeah.
or else you get a penalty. And like, we deduct the difference from your bank account anyways. So you might as well spend it on a freaking player, or else you're
Or
going to
you
get
just
fined the
don't
difference.
or you just don't get the what is it at the end of the year? The sharing at the
Shared, yeah, the
end.
shared, yeah,
Yeah, we'll
but
just take it out of that. You just won't get that, and we'll put that money towards something else.
or it's like, how like because I have I work in a company that has like budgets and finance and all that stuff, and at the end of the year, we try and spend as much as we can to hit our budget because
Do
again,
you
it's like,
really?
oh yeah, like I did a
Okay.
party. I took my whole team on like a 2-day excursion because I was like, I have to spend like 10 grand because I
Okay.
didn't spend any money. So yeah, those things are real. Like, but they should do that too. They're like, oh crap, I got this much left. I have to spend it or I'm going to lose it
Yeah.
anyways. I'm losing that money anyways. At least put it towards making you put a better,
Yes.
like, team out on the field. So I love that
Absolutely.
idea. And I think that's definitely something that at least should be discussed because I mean, I think we were looking at it completely the wrong way. It's like we're talking about capping people, and the players are never going to go for that. Players are
No.
never going to go for capping because they're like, "You're taking money out of my pocket now. We're
Yep.
never going to agree to this." So instead of lowering the ceiling, let's raise the floor, and let's get some of these other teams and force them. And if they don't want to, sell the team. Okay,
Yes.
because you're obviously not in it for the love of the game, and you obviously don't care about the product that you put out on the field. So, you get like maybe it's like if you don't hit that max after 3 years, you're forced to sell. I would love to see that happen.
Me too. Yeah. You are
But
starting to see now, though, they noticed it last year, Jackson Cheerio for the Brewers signing that big contract.
his name's
Be
Cheerio. Oh, is that how you pronounce his name? Cheerio,
I
not
think
Chorio.
so.
Chip
Maybe
chip Cheerio,
Churio.
chip chip Cheerio. Did he play for Great Britain in the
No,
in the World Baseball
no,
Classic?
I
Chip
don't
chip,
think so.
top of the hat for ya.
He could
Puppy
have. I
cup.
don't know. Jazz Chisholm played for
Jazz
Great Britain.
Chisholm. What a name, Jazz
He
Chisholm.
he needs to heat up a little bit for you,
Oh,
by
yeah,
the
I know, he's
way.
on my fantasy team. He's got me stolen bases, but
I
outside of that,
know.
he ain't got much. But,
But
any
no, the
other,
Pirates just signed our stud. Teams are starting to do that now with the young guys. They're
they
starting to
are.
sign them to, what could turn out to be. I'm wondering how things are going to go in like 4 or 5 years when these guys are worth way more than that. Are they going to try to restructure? And then if the owner's like, dude, I can't afford, like the Brewers and the Pirates, owner's not going to probably pay. So are they just going to demand a trade? And it's going to be the same thing as them. At least they'll get something in return rather than leaving in free agency.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you could get, a market. Like you're actually got some leverage because the player's not just going to want to leave at the end of his contract. And, if you're going to trade for him, you can give up peanuts. So maybe the Pirates will at least make out better in that. But I am starting to like seeing that from some of the smaller market teams. They're locking these guys up. Now, look, unfortunately, one of these guys is going to get signed to this big deal and
And
it's
it's not gonna
not
fall
going
through.
to turn out to be good and it's going to look rough.
I
But
still but to the point, it's like, I love this. I'm seeing it more
me
and more
too.
often. Connor Griffin, your boy, got
Griffin, yeah,
signed.
there we go. Yes.
190 for like what not 4 or 5 or like was it 5 or 6 or 7 years or something like that. But a huge contract.
8 or 9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like 9 years, 190. So it's a huge contract for a guy that hasn't played
I
like
know.
more than 5 games, but they're
I know.
going up they're paying on potential. And if he hits his ceiling, that's a steal.
Yeah.
That's an
That's
absolute
what I'm
steal.
saying. Yeah.
So it's a gamble. But you know what I call this? I call this the Scott Boras effect.
Mm.
Because what it is that these teams are like, we're not gonna let Scott Boras like, hold us hostage.
Oh, yeah.
And he's never gonna like even if we draft one of his guys, he's never gonna let us re-sign him
Yep.
ever. They're always gonna test the free agent market. So what we're gonna do is this is the Scott Boras effect is that we're gonna dangle this huge contract in front of a prospect that has high potential,
Yep.
and we're gonna make Boras go to that guy that's still on a minor league contract and tell them we shouldn't sign this deal. Hey, Scott, you're telling me that I got 9 years, 190 guaranteed locked and loaded right now, and you don't
Yeah.
want me to take this deal. They are taking the power away from agents like Scott Boras, and I couldn't be happier about that.
It's a beautiful thing.
So I want everybody to do this. And again, if 1 out of 5 of these doesn't work out, that's the cost of doing business. It wouldn't be any different than signing him to a huge free agent contract like an Anthony Rendon, proven player, and then just
Yeah.
crap the bed.
I
So
was thinking
why not?
Albert Hainsworth.
Why do you got? One was exiting DC. I'd rather go with that one. I don't want to go with the one that we ate that contract. I'm talking about the one that we got saved from the contract. But yes, Hainsworth or Rendon, or I mean, heck, even when the contract that Pujols signed when he went to the Angels, Angels are just done
Yeah.
with money. They're
I
done with money,
know. I know.
but they're good with athletes. Let's go to Joe Adell, your boy. I mean, he had a hell of a game.
That What are the odds of that? That was crazy, man. Especially the last one, literally like jumping into the stands. That was That was Alex Gordon-esque.
Yes, oh my god, thank you for the shout. There, give me that bobblehead. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for those of you who know, in a single game, Joe Adell, the outfielder for the Los Angeles Angels, he didn't rob one, not two, but 3 home runs in a single game. I don't know if that's ever been done before. That's
I
such
don't
an
think
incredible
so
feat.
either. I think 2 of them were Cal Raleigh too. At least one
Yeah,
of them definitely was.
yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like, well, he's not hit home runs, but he's dang close.
yeah, yeah.
But
But
yeah, that was awesome, and he was pumped. And man, the one view that they show when Adele is literally in the
in the
stands
stands,
and
he's
he's
holding up
like,
his glove. Yeah,
oh, that's that's photo of the year. That almost is kind of like, remember when I used to watch like Baseball Tonight? Remember when Mark Burley had that web gem of the year where it was like a foul, like a fair ball, and he scooped it up and put it between his legs
yeah,
to first base, and it was
yeah,
like the first game of the year.
yeah.
So
And you're like,
Baseball
is this gonna
Tonight.
hold on? Is this gonna
So
hold on all
they
year?
called it the Burley meter, and every time they saw a web gem, they were like, well, does it beat the Burley meter? And I don't think anything ever did. And I'm like, I think Adele, that picture, it's like, is anyone going to have a better photo all year in
Yeah,
baseball
it's
than
gonna be
Joe
hard to beat.
Adele?
It's gonna
Yeah.
be hard to beat. We'll call it the Halo meter. We'll call it the Halo meter.
Ooh, I
Stop
like that.
staring at my halo!
Nice.
But no, it's awesome, and it's what makes the game so awesome. Is you see the athleticism like kind of peak in some
Yeah.
areas in baseball because people talk about baseball being slow. It is a lot of standing around. It is. So when you get to see moments like that flashes
Yeah.
and that these guys are truly athletes, it's cool to see. So
Yeah.
yeah, love the Joe Adell highlight. Any other highlights from the week of baseball that kind of sprung out to you? All of my highlights are actually lowlights. I'm just looking at my fantasy team. I'm like, oh, where did I go wrong? But it's early. I'm not just like the Mariners. I'm trying not to panic about
Yeah.
my fantasy team right now. There's plenty of time on the clock.
Well, I won't say it was like a highlight, but it's something I've been watching. It has been the Tony Vitello on the San Francisco Giants who got his first ejection the other day.
Hey,
He's struggling. He came from college.
he did no Major League Baseball experience. Didn't play in the MLB.
Nope.
He's never coached in the MLB. I don't know what the Giants were thinking. Maybe they're just like, let's go really outside of the box here. But early returns, not great.
No, Buster Posey. Look, you were a great. Look, you have the coolest non-play I've ever seen in baseball. I'm sure you've seen it by now. I remember I even saw it live when it was at Nationals Park, and pitcher threw like a wild pitch, and it bounced off the backstop, and
Yeah,
he just turns his glove behind him and like scoops it up like it was nothing, and you're like,
yeah.
did
How
he
did you
just
know
do
that?
that so nonchalantly?
Yeah,
I was like, okay, these guys are really good. Like
yeah.
really good. I mean, you went outside the box. I guess you were trying to do the, NFL coaches taken from college to the NFL.
You're trying to pull your own hardball. You're trying to get your own movie buster. I have no idea what you're doing there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's early, but he didn't start off very well in San Francisco. He was kind of getting into it with reporters. They were kind of questioning some of his tactics and things like that, and he didn't really like that. And you can do that when you're talking to like the, I don't know, Rocky Top Express
Yeah,
newspaper or something.
a student reporter. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can talk down to a student reporter. You can't talk down to what's his name? God,
Stephen A. Smith,
Stephen A. No, don't say Stephen A.
Buster Olney.
Buster Olney. There you go, Buster Olney's. Yes, or the Tim Kirchens
Oh
of the
yeah,
world.
yeah.
It's like I had a pretty good Tim Kirchin impression a while back. I don't think I was like Jonathan Papelbon. I think that's my best Tim Kirchin right there. It's pretty good.
You got the good inflection with the
Jonathan
shoulders.
Papelbon. Yeah, it's like it's just very high pitched and it's very excitable. So
He loves baseball.
I love it,
God.
and and so does Olney. So it's great to see.
Yeah.
The real baseball heads come out. So yeah, we'll get more into baseball. We'll do kind of a tracker on maybe how our fantasy teams are doing, how our trackers are doing. Like you said, for me, the storylines, not so much teams just quite yet, but it's more about like surprise players. The guy Chase DeLauder for the Indians, this guy, I had never on my radar. He's leading the league in home runs and 5 home runs, 286. He's crushing the ball for Cleveland. And all the talk going before the Guardians was, does Jose Ramirez have any help around him?
I know.
Looks like he does. Looks like he's got a Robin to his Batman. So
For now, it's early.
wow, all right. A
Well,
lot of
no, I'm
hate
just
there.
gonna say because last year, do you remember that it was a second baseman, I think, on the Angels. His last name was Paris, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, he broke like every single Angels
I do
record,
remember that. Yeah.
and then he was in AAA by not even the All-Star break. So
Well, you worry about these guys with hot streaks. You're like, if these pitchers that don't have enough tape on them, and they'll finally figure them out. It happened with
yeah,
James Wood last year, right? James Wood was crushing the
yeah,
ball in the first half of the season. Then they realized they're like, let's just throw him curveballs.
yeah.
And it all went kinda out the window. Speaking of James Wood, he's been on a tear too. He had, like, 3 home runs in 3 games. Shout out to a Nat, where and hey, you were crapping on us, not as bad as you thought. We're 4-8, but hey, that's the same record as our pick to make it to the World Series in the Seattle Mariners.
That's
So there you
true.
go, yeah, it's early returns, not so bad.
My Pirates are looking pretty good right
Yeah,
now.
7-5, but that Central's looking pretty competitive. I mean, the
I
worst team
know.
right now is the Cubs at 6-6. The Reds are 8-4, the Brewers are 8-4, Pittsburgh 7-5, St. Louis is 7-5, Cubs are 6-6. So again, I don't know if they've just been playing lower tier divisions prior to this, but yeah, they're looking strong.
I mean, there's potential in just about every single one of those teams. I mean, the Reds have been the talk of baseball for the last 3 or 4 years, waiting for them to break out. So, and maybe this is
I
the year.
Well, you got Terry Francona, you've got an established, coach there. He knows what he's doing in Cincinnati. I'm honestly surprised by St. Louis. I feel like everybody had St. Louis as a bottom feeder, and they're
They
not going
will
out
be
without a
by the end
fight.
of the year, I
I
think,
mean, there's
though.
7-5 right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. So early returns, yeah. It's just I love. And is there anything better than day baseball? Can we be honest
No.
here? Like, you're either just getting off work or you're still at work and you can go and you can actually see some sports
Yes.
being played. Oh, it's just the best. Just the
Yeah.
best.
And they do it like every single day, just about too. So there's
Yeah.
always a game on that you can follow, watch. Yeah. It's they've done a good. I was almost wondering that. I was like, maybe baseball is going to get to the point though where I could just see the private equity companies or something that want to take over and say, people don't go to day games. Why are you having all these day games? Just
That
make
would
them night
suck.
games. You know what I mean?
That would
I'm
suck. I
I'm
really hope
calling
that
it.
would
It's
suck.
going to happen at some point.
That's just
Probably.
rain on my parade.
I know. That's what I'm here
Mhm.
for.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Debbie Downer. Should have Debbie Downer at wah, wah, on my
You need
my
a lot more
soundboard.
buttons on
So
this.
I'm realizing 4 aren't enough. I got the baby version of this. I needed the mega one, but we'll cross that bridge. But there is a sport that gives me the Debbie Downers, and we're gonna talk about it because I hopefully they're trying to make changes to make this game more freaking watchable. But we're gonna move on over to the NBA. We got a few topics to talk about here. I think we got an injury that kind of takes the lead because he is one of the greatest players in the game right now. But Luka went down, and he is officially out for the rest of the season, man.
He is. Yep. Down for the count. He's going to miss the any all NBA honors. So he was possibly going to win MVP, be another first team NBA, but he's going to miss out on that by one game.
Mm.
I'll be honest, I do feel a little bad. Even though I don't like Luca one iota. I'm convinced. I'm just going to say this now. I think he just took a GLP-1. I don't think he actually worked to lose any of that weight.
He's on the
I had
Ozempic. He's on
I,
the O.
Yeah, well, first of all, you live in LA. I mean, everyone there is doing something fake. So if it's not a GLP-1, it's a steroid, it's something illegal because nothing else from him has changed. His attitude on the court hasn't changed, his game hasn't changed, his leadership style hasn't changed. He hasn't changed anything. So what makes you think he decided to become a hard worker?
I
No,
mean,
he just took the easy way out. He lost that weight so fast. No.
it's an easy ad space. Just change his name from Luka Doncic to Lucha Don Zempic at the end of his
Yes.
name. Yeah, yeah.
He'd
And
be a
so
great spokesman for it.
well, and
Um,
that's why I'm not going to give it credence because if he was, why wouldn't he just take that free like branding? If he said, "Yeah, I'll be your spokesperson," he'd be making so much money
I
in the
know he would.
sponsorships.
He would.
But maybe it's just a little bit too, embarrassed by it. Ozempic, it's it's getting a little bit more credit. I just hate that Ozempic was brought out to be a diabetes
I know.
medication, and people are just profiting off of it, and
Yeah.
people are taking it for not what its initial use was for, and
No.
and again, it hasn't been around long enough to know what the significant long term damages are. So, good luck to everybody that's taking it. Hopefully, your ears don't fall off. But yeah, I don't know. It could be
Yeah.
anything. But yeah,
But
so getting
like I
getting
said,
back
for
to yeah,
Luka, I do feel bad because he did have to miss a few games for the birth of his kid. He had to go back to Slovenia. It didn't end well for him. I think
Slovenia,
that's the last time he's spoken to his wife now. So, but
really
either, yeah,
drama.
that's been a lot. It's been a lot of drama. But yeah, so I think he missed like 2 or 3 games for that. But I mean, the kicker though was literally if the rest of the season he misses the games, he misses the 65 game by 1 mark, and of course he had to get just one too many technical fouls and miss a game, and now he's going to miss
Ooh.
out on all of that, which kind of is karma coming back a
Yeah.
little bit.
So let's pull back a little bit because you might be one of the most knowledgeable NBA fans in our circle and maybe in a lot of circles. NBA I feel like has lost a lot of tread when
It
it comes to being one
has.
of the popular ones. So why don't you go into a little bit? You keep mentioning the 65
Yeah.
65 games. So why don't you go into depth? What is the importance of playing 65 games in the 81 game season? Is it 81 games in the
82
NBA?
game season.
82 game season. So what's the importance of the 65 games?
If you play less than 65 games, you are ineligible for season honors like MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. But more importantly, you also miss out on the all NBA teams, first, second, third team, which that's very important for players because getting vaulted into one of those categories can change your pay structure, that you can be like super max or max, but getting into one of those vaults could elevate you into getting a higher earning potential.
And a
So
pretty significant hire, like, we're talking
yes,
about 30 to 40 million
yes,
over, like, 4 years, so
yes,
it's not pennies here.
no,
So yeah, getting those honors is huge, especially if you've got a contract coming up and you have the potential of getting another supermax deal.
yeah,
So it's pretty big,
it is.
not hitting this
It's
goal.
huge. Yeah, I
And
don't
just
think guys care about the MVP, but so much.
they
But
don't
it's
care.
more that all NBA stuff.
Unless
Yeah,
they've got it, like, built in their contract that they get a bonus if they get
that
MVP or
too.
something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so how long is the 60 do you know how long the 65 game rule has been in effect now?
It's only been in for, like, just 2 or 3 years, and it obviously has not been a player favorite. I think this year is the worst because, you got Luka down, Steph's ineligible. I mean, LeBron was never gonna be, but he was gonna be ineligible. Cade Cunningham, I feel bad for on Detroit having a
Yeah.
great year, but, collapsed lung, he's gonna miss out on it. But it's the players that are to be at fault because the load management, missing nationally televised games and sitting a whole team out, coaches as well for it. The NBA had to do something. You guys were
Yeah.
just picking and choosing games that you wanted to play in. And this is like, I think I kind of mentioned on one of the podcasts at work where I work, you get like a bucket of hours that, you know what, if your kid has to stay home from school because of snow, you got a bucket of hours that take 8 hours out. You couldn't go to work because you had to stay home for your kid. You know what? You've got 60 hours, so take 8 out of that. You still got 52. And you accrue it as you go on. But this is kind of God, I lost. Oh, this is the thing. So yes, like when you have a serious injury, you can sit out. But if you're just like, oh, my knee's a little banged up, or I'm tired, or this or that, and you keep missing one game after another, when you have that big injury, now you're going to miss the 65 game mark. But that's the point of it. You're supposed to play when you can play and don't play when, you really can't play. And you'll probably be fine because honestly, if you miss more than 65, that's almost a quarter of the season
Yeah.
already. It's like, well, if you miss more than that, it's got to be a major injury. So you wouldn't win any of those awards
Yeah,
anyway.
anyways,
So
exactly.
yeah. So this just takes out you just resting for the sake of resting.
Yeah,
So that,
so to your point, yeah, the 65 game rule was implemented in 2023 and it was completely to prevent this load management crap that was really just deadening the game.
yeah,
It does suck, but to your point, even if, he misses it by one game, he's missing a significant chunk of
it
that
is.
season. Like he shouldn't be eligible for a role. And it's like there are far too often times where I feel like, and I know that the MVP and a lot of those decisions are made by sports journalists and people that have a vote. I don't even know. We don't have a vote yet. See if our podcast gets a vote. That'd
Not
be
yet.
super cool. We'll get there. Oh, but it still plays favoritism, right? And it's like we've seen it with was it Embiid winning it over
Yeah.
Joker? We saw
Jokic.
it with Josh Allen winning it over Lamar. From a statistical standpoint, these guys, it shouldn't have even been a question that they won again. But because there is a personal, attachment to it and people get tired of the redundancy of it, they make decisions. So I also like that this prevents the voters to make a decision off
Yep.
of just personal favoritism. It's like, well, Doncic was having an incredible season. It's not his fault that he was out, so I still want to give him the MVP. That's a wasted vote. He didn't
It
play for a
is.
quarter of the season. He shouldn't be eligible. So I do. Not only does it affect the load management, but also hopefully it really goes to the person. Because if you're the MVP, I'm sorry, you got to be around, man. You got to
Yes.
play. Like you can't play half a season and still be eligible to win the MVP.
Agreed.
Or make it to the All-Pro. I don't care about potential. We talk about this all the time. It's potential versus production. You gotta go production over potential. I don't care. I don't care what you're capable of doing. What did you do?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm
Regular
all for it.
season has to mean something, and you
Oh,
have
it's
to
coming back to
play.
the fancy hockey again. Regular season's gotta matter something.
But
Whatever.
no, let
You know what?
me.
I
So
should have won. I should have won that. And
no,
you know
you
what? I'm
shouldn't
I'm
have.
going to next year, okay?
Oh, I will be.
I'll be
I'll be squad leader.
I'll do it. I'm gonna be squad leader. I'll be squad
Be
leader.
your team name. I'll be squad
I'll
leader.
be a squad leader. Well, you already took that. Ant Baby Machete Squad. That was your team name for the longest time.
It was. I know. I think I did retire it last
You
year. I think
did.
it's retired for good. But
For
maybe I'll
good.
bring back a frisky dingo for football again.
Yeah, there you go. I got a few. I'll load them up on here, and you can take one of these.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
You can just be Wendell X or something like that.
Well, I was
So,
Torpedo Vegas for a while.
Torpedo Vegas. That's a good. Oh man, I should have Torpedo Vegas loaded on here. Well, so now that you've seen it, do you think this affects the 65 game rule? Do you think it pushes players to play through injuries? And do you think there's a potential that it's actually hurting them both, like figuratively and literally, out there playing?
Well, glad you put it like that
Mm.
because it could, but I think there's a bigger problem. I think the game, as if you've watched a game in the last 5 years, you probably haven't.
Few, very few, but yes.
But seriously, it is. Sometimes it does just look like how you mentioned how we would get eat out at Lost Dog after we play pickup. The NBA looks a lot like our pickup game. One guy gets the rebound, he dribbles down the court himself and either shoots a three or drives, maybe passes it once to a guy who just, whether there's a guy on him or not, just shoots the three with the guy on him or drives into the lane into four guys and hoists up a shot that, those guys it kind of goes in, us it didn't go in. But that's
Speak for
the
yourself.
game.
3D, baby. 3D.
That's true. Well, the drive, you didn't really drive.
No, I didn't see it. Dribbling was not my forte.
But no, so the game has changed. It's so much more pace. There's so much more up and down the court. And they also put so much on like the star player, the usage rate that they always talk about. Like these guys, it's great that Joker had a 40-point, 20 rebound, 15 assist triple double, but I'm like, do they just give you the ball for the whole game? I mean, what is going on with this? So these guys are getting hurt. You got an 82 game schedule. You play some back-to-backs. I honestly think the sport just needs to look at the way it's laid out and say, you can't play this style. It'd be like in hockey. They have four lines that go out there, right? Basically, the fourth line is really out there to just make sure that the first line and everyone else has enough rest to go out there.
Yeah.
If somehow the NHL came out with a rule that said you can only have three lines, guess what? The game would change. They wouldn't be out there going balls to the wall for a minute to a minute and a half because they can't rest in time. So it's like the NBA, guys keep popping their Achilles, tearing their ACLs.
You always drive me nuts how you pronounce Achilles. You're like Achilles.
Achilles. Yeah, well, you bug me with some of your pronunciations through this podcast, and I've let it go.
Don't lay it on me.
It's not Manziel, by the way, sir.
Manziel? Is it
It's
Manziel?
Manziel.
Whatever. That's a name. That's not a part of your body, but
Whatever.
whatever. Yeah.
But yes, it's just the NBA, something has to change. Either go to 65 games, play 65 games and take less money and play your same style of up and down basketball, or I don't know, don't have your starters play as much, don't have them have the ball like the star player on every single possession. Don't run up and down, run a play maybe, run something through the post, like slow it down a little bit. We saw it in football. You don't see the colleges with the stupid Oregon with they get the playoff in 7.2
The
seconds. Look at
Chip
how
Kelly
fast.
offense. Chip Kelly offense?
You don't see that anymore because they realize it's kind of useless because we want to make sure we actually have the right play. So maybe in the NBA, if you actually go down and I mean, college basketball was great because watching like UConn and Michigan, they actually ran plays, set
Yeah.
picks. Like it was good. And some of it in the NBA would be just change the rules and make it make playoff basketball the regular season rules where you can have a little more contact. Guys just can't run wherever they want. But
Yeah.
something has to change. And I don't know how you feel about that. I don't know if you ever thought about that in some
I
of these
mean,
sports.
when we put it on the outline, I started thinking about it because like, okay, I gotta come with something. But I mean, I like the problem is that how does the league police pace of play, right? They're like you have to wait 10 seconds to shoot. You have to complete 4 passes.
I
You
don't think
can't.
it's on the league.
It's
I think
not.
it's just on the teams.
That's where I'm going with it. So it's like it's more about you talk about load management. It's not about them sitting at the games. It's just creating a game plan to prevent their usage skyrocketing. And it's like you have all these analytics now. Like at halftime, you can be like, "Hey, Joker's tracking for 50% usage. We
Yeah.
need to reduce that, or else we're going to risk him at injury." And there's so many data points now. You can't tell me that these teams don't have a Harvard grad that can go in there and just be like, "Okay, at this threshold, at 42% usage,
Yeah.
he's 80% more likely to have a serious injury." Okay,
Yeah.
then track usage and be like, "Okay, we have to move the ball around." There are 5 and I've always talked about this. It's frustrating when it's ISO ball. It's not fun to watch.
Nope.
I know you have a superstar. All of these people, I'm sorry, they made the NBA. They are uber talented. You can't tell me that you can't, have somebody else take a shot, but again, like when you promote and you stroke these egos for these people, they want the ball all the time. They
Yeah.
want the ball all the time because they're like, "I'm the best, and I'm gonna be the one that makes the shot, and I'm gonna be the one that carries this team." It's like there are 4 other people on your team, man. It's like it's okay to take like take a play off or like every 5th play, like you said, draw up a freaking play
Yeah.
and run that play. Like, you can't tell me that that's not a feasible option. And I talk about the pace. It's like the other reason that like I think the pace changed is that again we talk about run and gun and how the Warriors really kind of I wouldn't say wrecked basketball, but they definitely changed the
They
pace
did.
themselves, right? They're like 3s over 2s and volume of shots. That's what's going to win us games because we have a high percentage from shooting from the field and a high percentage from shooting from behind the arc. But what's to say to combat that as a team? You slow the game down so they
Yes.
can't shoot it every 5 seconds. Play the boards. I know it sounds, again, boomer-tastic, but box out fundamentals, get a good shot, don't take the first shot that's available to you, run some clock, wear them out on defense so
Yep.
they're exhausted when they try and run on you on offense.
Which is
So
exactly what Oklahoma
mhm,
City did to Luka. They
there you
just
go.
they just made him play defense.
Yep.
It made me so happy because one, his
I know.
offensive game struggled, and then he hurt himself. They actually literally wore him down enough to hurt him. Like
Yeah.
that's all you got to do, though.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you don't have to fight fire with fire, like do fire and ice, do something completely opposite to
Yeah.
kind of prevent this from happening. But yeah, at the same time, as long as it's not like a life altering injury, I have no love lost for these guys getting hurt because their money's guaranteed and they're still making what is it, averaging like 20 million per 5 minutes that they play. So, whatever.
Basically,
Yeah.
yeah. These guys, I think Chris Paul was making, I think, like $40 million this year. Like 40 years old to be the last one off the bench, and he was making like $40 million.
That's
That
just
was insane.
yeah, shocking. What if the Suns got a deal when they cut him early? They're like, yeah, or the Clippers. They're like, yeah, we're just gonna cut you, take some of that money back.
I would hope so.
Probably not, because it's guaranteed.
I know,
Everything's
I
freaking
know.
guaranteed in the NBA. Yeah, whoever like is on their MLBPA, like they should just be given like a million every year until the day they die because they hooked them up
Yes.
so
Yeah,
significant.
they did.
But another sport that's coming up where the payouts are just incredible for what might be considered a lesser of athletic sports is golf. And I know I'm getting a lot of hate from the golf. It's an these like it's draining, it's exhausting. It's like you can't compare golf athletes to any of the other professional sports. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. But
Ooh,
did I freeze or did you
did I
freeze? Do you
lose
got
you,
this?
Vigo?